order at Bayou Correctional Center on Thursday, April 27th, 2023. It's 10:07 a.m. Are there any staff near you, Mr. Caldwell?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
All right, would you just introduce yourself for the record, please?
And this is Sandy Gale. I am the booking officer here at Bayou Correctional, and also here is CO Moffitt, who is a security officer.
Okay, thank you very much for accommodating us this morning. Mr. Caldwell, will you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Bernard Caldwell, DOC number 471574.
Okay, Mr. Caldwell, stand by. I'm trying to get you the right record. It's in B. It's in B. Okay, I got it. Thank you. All right, Mr. Caldwell, we're here for a revocation decision this morning. We also have joining us, your mother is here. Becky Rochelle wants to speak on your behalf. We also have Jennifer Artigo from the parole officer who's here and will be speaking at the appropriate time. Do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there?
Yes, I have all my paperwork.
Okay, is that your signature at the bottom of the parole revocation questionnaire?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're ready to proceed this morning without counsel?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read the allegations against you, and after which I'll ask you for a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll do the interview with you before we go. All right, you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 2. You failed to report as directed December 8, 21, February 15, 22, and January 8, 23, when your travel permit expired. How do you violate condition number 2?
I'm guilty.
Condition number 3, on or about March 2nd, 2022, you failed to obtain a written travel permit and left the state of Louisiana. How do you plead to violating condition number 3?
Not guilty.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, there's several violations of condition number 4, and I'm going to name them alphabetically. So first is number A, on or about February 7, 2022, you failed to refrain from criminal activity by committing the offense possession of CDS1, possession of marijuana, drug test falsification device, and drug paraphernalia. On September 27, 2022, you are indicted in 109th Judicial District Court of Andrews County, Texas, on felony charge possession of CDS methamphetamine, Texas docket 8242. How do you plead to violating 4A?
Yes, that happened. I'm guilty.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, next is 4B, on or about December 9th, 2022, you failed to refrain from criminal activity by committing the offense possession of marijuana. On December 9th, 2022, you were given a ticket for possession of marijuana, a misdemeanor charge. How do you plead to violating condition number 4B?
Yes, that happened. Guilty.
Condition number 4C, on or about December 9th, 2022, you failed to refrain from associating with people who are known to be involved in criminal activity by your association with the female that was located in your residence whom had illegal narcotics in her possession. How do you plead violating condition 4C?
Yes. Guilty.
Guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
4D, on or about December 9th, 2022, you failed to refrain from criminal activity by committing the offense of possession of marijuana, possession of methamphetamine, possession of Adderall without a prescription, by self-admission of using these drugs. How do you plead to violation condition number 4D?
Guilty.
Okay, and then we have 4E, on or about February 24th, 2023, you failed to refrain from criminal activity by committing the offenses of possession of CDS1 and possession of marijuana, Texas docket 423-007 and 423-0137. How do you plead to violating number 4E?
Guilty.
Then we have condition number 8, on or about December 29th, 2022 and February 17, 2023, you failed to submit a substance abuse evaluation by your submission of a substance abuse evaluation that you provided, in that you did not give truthful answers during the evaluation questioning, which made the evaluation invalid. How do you plead to violating condition number 8?
Guilty.
Okay, I'm going to say that was 8A. And again, condition number 8, we'll call it 8B. On or about December 29th, you were served with notice of administrative sanctions and signed for the action of weekly drug screens. You failed to submit weekly drug screens to your parole officer. How do you plead? 8B.
Guilty.
And then number 9, on or about March 6, 2023, you failed to allow your parole officer to search your personal property, your cell phone. How do you plead to violating condition number 9?
Guilty.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Y, seated to my right. Would you answer her questions?
Good morning, Mr. Caldwell. How's it going?
It's going. Good morning, ma'am.
Your arms all folded up and everything. It's hard to get excited about the day. I understand.
Oh, just nervous.
Okay, tell us. You pled guilty to all your allegations. Any statements that you want to make?
Each allegation has a explanation somewhat. I might not be innocent of them, but they do have explanation that is reasonable, and I would like to talk about them.
Good. What I want you to do is tell me why I should not vote to revoke you today.
Because I have a job, career, I take care of my kids. I see why looking into it, but I don't feel like prison is a good option for me. I work, I've had the same job, same residence the whole time. I've been free.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about these allegations? What was going on in your life? You're right. You had those things that's supposed to make you successful, but you're in jail.
Okay. On the February 8th, like the first 3 allegations right there, where my travel permit expired, if my job held over, and I did contact probation and parole and let them know, hey, I was going to be a couple days late, and I did come in. I was just a couple days late, and I did communicate as I should. And
I saw that in the record. That's true.
Yes, ma'am. And then on further down, with the criminal stuff in Texas, I did get in trouble with drugs. I did, but I haven't been formally charged. I haven't even pled not guilty. And I've been told by my lawyer that I was going to get dismissed, especially if I went through a rehab program. And then, the criminal activity with the young female, she didn't have a criminal record. And, I didn't really know exactly what was going on there. I was really engaged in sexual activity. And I'm not trying to make myself seem innocent, but, I don't necessarily feel like I should just have to serve. I'm going to have to serve 2 years.
Okay. And the marijuana, having the marijuana, what about that?
The marijuana, yes, ma'am. I'm going to admit it. I did smoke marijuana.
Okay, and then all the other drugs that you were involved in.
In the first case, I did have a small amount of methamphetamine with me. In the second case, it's a little bit more complicated. There's a co-defendant in the case, which they say there's not, but it's a little bit more complicated. My lawyer's involved in that, and I'm out on bond, and it could be a year, 2 years, 3 years before I wrap that up.
And the substance abuse evaluation.
The first one.
For you to be honest and get the help that you needed. So what happened with that?
The first one, I answered the question. I didn't provide as much information as I should. I kind of smoothed it over. With the second one, I felt like I was honest, and they put me in Miss Jennifer did, say I had to take the classes they recommended. It was 3 classes a week I was taking. And then as I started the classes, same time I got arrested. So it was, but the second one I wasn't truthful.
The classes was online, or how were you able to do the classes in Texas? Or they were online?
Yes, ma'am. I stayed at a drilling rig at work and I was doing them online. And then there was going to be one I'd have to go per week in person.
Okay. And then the drug testing, I saw where you said they were just too expensive to find a local place to go test weekly.
Yes, ma'am. I was like in the middle of the desert towards Mexico and they were wanting like $1,000. And that was just, I couldn't even really get a company to come for one person. I had to pay out of my pocket. They wouldn't even entertain it so much. One of them told me like $1,000, $700. And when coming to a drilling rig to drug test one person,
I'm saying, and the company that you work for, did they do regular drug testing?
Yes, they have. I've taken multiple for them, but I'm the only representative for my company on location. I'm a drilling engineer, and it became real complicated for me to get relief to go to the city I mean, it's like 6 hours away from the rig type ordeal to do that. I can't do that once a week. You know, they're gonna fire me.
Right, yeah, you became a lot, yeah.
I mean, looking back on it, I wish I'd have paid $2,000 a week to whatever. I mean, if I'd have known, you know, looking back on it, but hindsight's 2020.
And looking back even further to not even, you were out on parole, not even get started using drugs. That's look back.
Of course. And I'm sorry, but you know, I can't deny it. Like, it's hard not to do drugs. And
yeah, it's hard. But people do it all the time.
yes, ma'am.
It's possible.
Oh yeah.
Now tell me the rationale for not letting your officer go through your cell phone.
I was freaking out. I was in handcuffs, ma'am. I was really just freaking out at the time.
What they have found? What is it you didn't want to see?
There was nothing in there. I even offered her to go back through it at a later time. I never had possession of my phone again. And she didn't want to. I mean, and it was me freaking out. I was in handcuffs going to jail. And it hit me like, you know, it's like going through my phone was the least of I was just freaking out at that time.
Okay, I understand. And as I read through the files, you did mention a couple of times to your officer that you had depression, you know, and you weren't proactive in getting the help that you need.
They wanted to put me on medication.
Go ahead.
They wanted to put me on some medication, and
so you did get evaluated for depression. And tell me why you refused the medication.
I don't know, just stuff, conspiracy stuff. I don't like taking medicine.
I can't hear you.
I don't like taking medicine like that.
But you would buy illegal drugs on the street, don't know what's in that. You don't mind.
You're right.
I'm asking, if that's the case?
I mean, not necessarily, but you know, drug addiction is real, and just they want to put me on like Depakote and stuff like that, and that's like, it's just a scary drug.
Oh, okay. So you rather just go ahead and use the marijuana and the meth?
I was medicated somewhat, you could say, yes.
But you were comfortable with those medications. And then also medication that you were engaging in online gambling. Tell us about.
Yes, I was participating in online gambling until she told me not to no more.
So I'm
just like
so you're telling us that you stopped gambling on your own.
Yes, I did stop gambling whenever she told me that was, and I thought being in casinos is what I wasn't supposed to do. I didn't realize that online gambling was like that too.
Okay. So what do you need?
I would like to go home. I'd like some rehab. I mean, they tell me my insurance is canceled and it's a $15,000 payment to go to rehab. Now my private insurance canceled. My company put me on hiatus. They terminated my employment. I mean, I can go back, but as of right now, I'm not technically on the payroll as a salaried employee, which I understand they're not going to give me a salary while I'm sitting in jail.
And the other thing that even in your problem solving and your processing, you were working in Texas. The officer was working with you, you know, doing all the emails and all to get your travel permits and all of that. Then you would kind of fall off, but the officer was, you know, patient and working with you on that. And then you indicated you had a brother in New Mexico that you could have moved to live with, was closer to Texas.
I didn't find that out till later, like after the first year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's not necessarily, we're not necessarily on good terms. He's kind of not the brother I like to be around, you know.
Okay.
But if I needed an address, I could have possibly, and that was coming. There were some complications. They said I can't work in the state while I apply. And, there was just some complications with applying for a state and the grace period being accepted or whatnot. So we kind of just kept doing the travel permit thing. I
You
mean,
didn't have a family member in Texas though, to live with either, right?
no, I was born in Texas though. So
Didn't have a family member there.
no,
You didn't have a-
no family member.
Oh, okay, all right, that answers my question. I was just listening, for the testimony.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Caldwell,
Yes, sir.
when you were released from incarceration, did someone go over a parole certificate with you?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you read all the rules and regulations, and did you read all the conditions?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you sign it?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you go in for intake, and did that parole officer go over that contract with you?
Yes, sir, I was explained everything. I understood everything.
And you agreed to follow all those conditions of that contract?
Yes, sir. And I broke the contract.
And you said here this morning, if pled guilty to criminal activity that you were aware of that was against that contract,
Yes, sir.
why shouldn't I revoke you?
I honestly, reading over the preliminary report, I came in here expecting to get revoked, sir. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat.
Okay, I just want to know.
Yeah, yes, sir. I mean,
Because basically, you pled guilty to breaking a contract. And basically, I'm gonna revoke you today simply because you didn't do what you're supposed to do.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Mr. Caldwell, you mentioned that you, on the drilling rig, your company did routine or regular random, I guess, drug testing of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Fail one?
Yes, they did randoms on me. I had to drive into the city whenever that did occur, though.
Right, and so I saw something about, did you ever, you passed all your drug tests?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you alter any specimen to pass the test?
No, they were observed.
So how, you were still using, I mean, you were in, that's what your original charge was, drug dealing.
Mhm.
To work offshore. Well, I think you said you were self-med.
On my end.
Well,
I work on it.
sorry, on the drilling rig.
Yes, ma'am.
You were self-medicating.
I use marijuana, not regularly enough to where it would be in my system constantly, but yes.
All right, well, we'll hear from, let's hear from your mother. Your mother's here today and wants to speak on your behalf. So Ms. Rochelle, could we hear from you, please?
Hello,
State your name for the record, please, and tell us what you want us to know about your son.
my name's Becky Rashow. Brian's a good person. He's so smart. He was in a satellite school as a child because he was so smart. He's had the same job since he's finished high school. And it's just, I didn't know about the gambling. I didn't even know about the meth. And it's just such a waste. I just want him to get some help and go back to work. He's been supporting his 2 children. He pays his bills. He does meth. And I don't understand that. Why you gotta do that, Brian? It just needs some help.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Rochelle. We
I'm
appreciate joining us this morning. That's okay. We'd, Ms. Artigo, could we hear from you, please, ma'am?
Yes, during the, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
During his supervision, whenever he did come back in town, that one time for me to be able to see him and get the travel permit, that is when he was cited for the possession of marijuana. And it all occurred from me knocking on his door, him not wanting to let me in because he said he was entertaining a female and wasn't dressed. He stated he didn't know, the female had any kind of criminal background. There was suspected meth pipes on the left and right side of the bed. He admitted to the marijuana in the bathroom. When he came in that day, that's when he was drug tested. And instead of locking him up, I wanted him to get help at that time because he seemed like he wanted to. So that's when I referred him. I added the special condition. On average, he makes $14,000 a month. That is take home. He sends me his check stubs. So for him not to be able to afford $1,000 for a urine test and says he can't drive to town, I don't feel is that truthful, because obviously at least twice he drove to town because he's arrested on 2 different incidents in Texas in 2 different cities. So he has the capability to drive to town. It appears he has the capability to pay because he told me he ate $1,000 worth of shrimp and lobster a month. And then when he lied again, instead of arresting him and setting him for revocation, I gave him another chance to take a second evaluation. And still during that second evaluation, he wasn't truthful. He did not say anything about all of his arrests, much less the most current arrest that he's on supervision for, that was recently arrested for, which is his violations. He didn't mention those. He didn't mention the meth admission to me, the marijuana admission to me, and the Suboxone admission. He stated meth and downplayed it and marijuana. If he really wanted help, I felt I gave him a plethora of chances to get help so he could stay free and work his job. And I feel that he didn't want to take advantages of all the opportunities. And I did send in the most late information. I'm not sure if y'all received it. It should have been emailed to y'all. He was indicted on the second felony in Texas yesterday. I got a copy of it. He was indicted on Monday. The grand jury did sign it. And then for that first arrest in Texas, he does have upcoming court dates. So it does seem like in both felony cases, they are appearing to be like they're going forward with both felony charges in both counties. And I just feel that for him to succeed when he gets out on supervision or when he's released back is that he is just in the custody of DOC, and in custody, there's plenty of programs he can attend and not forced to attend. That's how I feel we'll know if he really wants to change and better himself, by him seeking the classes while he's incarcerated rather than adding a special condition that he's forced to do. No one's going to change if they're forced to do something. They got to want to change, and it doesn't seem like he wants to at this time. So that's why I'm in favor of full revocation.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share that with us. We appreciate your participation this morning. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Caldwell, anything you want to say to us before we vote?
I mean, I just want to go home and take care of my kids, get back to work, get some help. If y'all could send me to rehab, I don't know how it works.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, sir. We're prepared to vote. Mrs. Wise will be voting first.
Yeah, one thing for sure, when I was reading the case last night, I said, Mr. Caldwell, you're going to be a case that I'm going to mention quite often going forward. As y'all stated, you're making over $14,000 a month and you're in jail. So there are other factors. I'm going to be mentioning that again, so money ain't it. My vote is to revoke your supervision based on your guilty plea to all the allegations and the testimony of the parole officer here at the hearing. And I do recommend that DOC place you in a long-term substance abuse program prior to release. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. O'Shea.
Madam Chairman, my vote is the same, for the same reasons.
All right, Mr. Caldwell, I do agree. You asked for help. This is our way to get it for you. My vote today also is to revoke with the recommendation that DOC forge a long-term substance abuse program. Good luck to you, sir. But today your parole's been revoked.
What is a long-term substance abuse in prison? What is that? Is that like reentry and all that?
They'll tell you. Good luck to you. That concludes our business at Bayou Correctional Center. It's 10:33 a.m.
Wow. We have had a few firsts for this hearing. I think one of the firsts is that I haven't seen Miss Wise so like it was like her most focused interview I've seen. I haven't seen her do this for the biggest monsters hearings. People can murder and destroy lives, and it would more be like, okay, that's nice, but this was like really I mean, she did a good job. I would like to see her this focus normally. Something also that I can't recall, and we've done what, way over 400 hearings now. I don't recall seeing a parole officer and Jennifer showing up to a hearing and speaking out against her parolee. I just don't. I can't pick that out ever happening, has it? That's it, you know. And the way she was talking, she couldn't really. It seemed to me she kind of let go of her emotions. It wasn't purely professional. She seemed to be getting emotional over her testimony. Like she took it personally, this whole thing. And it was like she had a vendetta against him. Man, for his sake, I hope he gets a different parole officer when he gets back out, because that's just got to be tough. Imagine you're in, I'm not sure how it happens, but you're in a room with a date, trying to have a party, and someone knocks on the door and it's your parole officer. It's Jennifer looking at you, and you gotta be like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine what that must have been like. But you're making $14K a month, if my math is right. That's $168K a year. And it just goes to show, meth, drugs, it does not discriminate. Addiction is addiction. And I thought his mother really said it best. It was emotional. It was so pure and raw. You know, if there's anything that could give him a wake-up call, if there's anything that can give anyone a wake-up call, it would be your mother. Just so you know, he went to a satellite school. He's so smart. He's an engineer working on a plant, making a great living, at least financially supporting his children. And she's like, I don't know why he does meth. Such a waste. Such a waste. Addiction doesn't discriminate. Yes, Jennifer's parole agent actually brought up, he eats $1,000 a month of lobster and shrimp. I mean, I thought there's got to have been a tinge of jealousy, envy in there. She's probably making like 38 grand a year or something. I just made up that number. I have no idea. But man, if you're making $14K a month and you're getting room and board at where you're working, it seems like a pretty good living. I know they work hard, but man, that's like you just keep your head down and work and don't blow your money on $1,000 of shrimp and who knows what else. You can live a really nice life. But he's wasted it. Now he's young. He can, of course, but it's the right, it is the right decision. What's he gonna do? He's an addict. It's his own life on the line, and he's a smart guy. He knows you can't just not take tests. Stay away from, keep the rules. Don't smoke a J. Don't take illicit drugs. Like you were locked up already. Just you can't help it, and that's addiction. It's not. There's no sense to it, and it's going to be a rough ride for him. And maybe he'll get to Steve Hoyle, but he can definitely overcome this, and hopefully he'll be one of those success stories talking about sobriety and doing the right thing. And maybe we'll see him on another parole hearing in a few years from now. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Help me get to 20,000 subs. It is a big help. With that, I'll let you go.